You're watching Oilersnation Radio.
What are we supposed to do in the days between games?
Rest.
We have so much time between round 1 and round 2 because the Oilers just go ahead and handle their business, don't they?
Really is best case scenario, isn't it?
Kind of is, but we're going to get to it in a second. I want to give a shout out to all of you for being here with us on the Friday episode of Oilers Nation Radio. Bag Milk, Rick, Tyler, Liam, Dan, gang's all here. We got a special interview coming up in a little bit with former Oiler Brendan Perlini, so you're going to want to stick around the whole time for that. First, we're going to get started with the delicious debate for our friends at Wendy's. It takes hard work and determination to bring home the win. Luckily, all you need to bring home is a Wendy's rewards to eat. Just download the Wendy's app, place your favorite order, and you'll be well on the road to victory. And by victory, we mean free food. And hey, while you're racking up the rewards points and eating your way through the menu, you'll also have plenty of deals along the way to keep the morale high. So what are you waiting for? Download the Wendy's app today and start earning on every order. Rick, going to Wendy's today, probably, I imagine. Getting the download in the app. What are you grabbing? What's a Friday meal at Wendy's for you?
Dude, it's tough for me to go through there and not get a Baconator. Love their fries. Got to get that large iced tea because that thing is honestly like half a keg. And like I said the other show, I dabbled in that French onion burger the other day. So it'd either be one of those or 2 JBCs.
Tyler, what do you got?
I'm going to go same thing, Baconator. And then what I'm going to do, especially if it's like a Friday night, like tonight, I'm going to get myself 2 chicken wraps, stash them in the fridge for later.
I'm going to go 2 JBCs and the spicy chicken sandwich. Liam, what's your go-to?
I like getting the JBCs and a Frosty.
Dan?
I'm going 3 JBCs, 2 JBCs to eat, and then 1 for the next day, and the liter of iced tea like Rick laid out.
I do love the lemonade there. I want to do the lemonade, which I love at Wendy's, and the iced tea, which I also love. Homemade Arnold Palmer's.
Was I the only one who said French fries?
Yep.
And do you remember back in the day when they had the French fries? They had the salt and pepper in those little.
Sure.
I don't even know how to.
Little tubes. Almost.
Yeah, like little tight little tubes. Yeah, a little fresh pepper on their fresh French fries.
Season your food, people.
That's right.
Tyler, our friends at Wendy's, they would like to know, what is today's delicious debate?
Two-parter
episode of ONR.
We're giving a two-parter here, but we'll start with who was the Oilers MVP in their round 1 win over the Kings.
Who's starting?
I'll go first.
Liam, what say you?
I will say Stuart Skinner was their MVP in round 1. I think he had a tough game too, but I think the other 4 games he was outstanding for them. And I mean that game 4, as much as the Oilers had the high danger chances, like still faced 33 shots in a 1-0 game and won them the game. So I'll say Stu.
Well, Dan, what you got?
I think you guys are going to leave him off the board probably because of his upbringing, but I'm going to give it to Zach Hyman for scoring as many goals as he did, just absolutely torching the LA Kings offensively. I think I said it on last show. I didn't really even expect it from him to be this good this early and making Toronto regret it as much as they have.
Shout out to the Hymans for buying that first round win.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you. We are very grateful. Rick, who you got? Who's the MVP for you?
See, mine's gonna be a little bit different though. I have to go special teams.
Not
I think that's
players.
exactly right. Tuesday. Everybody saw what they did out there. LA had going into that in the regular season. I think LA's power play was top 15, and they put up maybe 12th.
12th.
Their PK was like 3rd.
That
Yeah.
PK was second.
Ooh.
7%.
Their PK was
And
first.
they had what 11 power plays perhaps, something like that, and nothing. And then our power play went out and just ran them over. There was a funny stat that we had something like inside of 30 seconds more power play time on ice power play time than they did, with 8 or 9 more power plays, just because we score so damn fast.
Oh, I see what you mean.
But outside like that, the special teams, man, it ruled that one. LA couldn't match it.
If you see, go find the clip. It's probably on our Instagram. Go find the clip from Oilers Plus where Zach Hyman's mic'd up and they're talking about the power play.
They can't cover us.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
Great content on Oilers Plus. Go check that Hyman clip out. What do you got, Tyler?
Just quickly on that one, I also liked it was a bit of an insight into how they approach each power play, but he scores before Draisaitl says they can't stop it line. Hyman is like, great call, Leo. Like they do their little huddle and they're calling out plays like they're an NFL team, man.
Yeah, they got the hand over the mouth.
Yeah.
Like I thought they were just, hey, you see that up in row 12 there? You see what's.
And then the clip kind of goes on and you get another little glimpse into like, okay, I'm going to start here, or like you're going to start there. And like they clearly have so many different ways to attack them. For me, so who's off the board? Skinner's off the board. Hyman's off the board. Special teams is off the board. I'm going to give it to playoff Leon Draisaitl, who is just on another level every single playoffs. I love that graphic that was going around Twitter of like Draisaitl and then the first like 8 months of the season, and it was like, is he even top 5 ? And then playoffs, and it's, is he better than McDavid? And that's honestly what it feels like, man, because he just cranks it up every playoffs consistently like clockwork, and he was a beast. That might have been the best hockey I've ever seen him play against the LA Kings.
The funny thing is, this series playing on 2 legs.
Yeah, that too.
That could be troublesome for everyone else.
At first, when you said that, I thought you had like a problem. And guess what? He only has 2 legs. Can you believe it?
3.
Now I get it.
3.
That's
You know,
It's not Clem.
well, we don't know that.
We can't
I
all
need
be
that
Sean
airplane
Collins.
photo. I just need the right airplane photo. You guys left him up for me. Led the team in scoring in round 1. Only had 1 goal, but he had 11 assists, tying Wayne Gretzky as somebody who registered at 10 plus assists twice in a series. Connor McDavid, the goals are going to come, but the way he's setting up his teammates is just fantastic. It started with the 5 assist night in game 1. Connor McDavid was electric. He is figuring out how people cover him in real time and adapting to it. The Kings did a lot of swarming McDavid towards the center of the ice. That gave him the opportunity to dump it off to one of his teammates with a little bit more space. So Connor McDavid and the computer, that is his brain, processing at a very high level. Just love the way he plays. What was the second part, Tyler?
Unsung hero.
Unsung hero now. So let's go to, kind of someone who wasn't getting enough love.
Well, I'll say I think he did get a good amount of love, but I'll say him anyway. I think Evander Kane took his game to another level in this playoffs, in this first round series. Like big goal to kick it off in game 5, albeit maybe a bit of a fluky one. Either way,
goals count.
Goals in the back of the net. You don't shoot it, you don't go in. I thought he played really well. I thought he did a really good job of being engaged physically, but not being stupid about it. You know, he kept his, what do you call it? He played maturely, I guess we'll call it.
Kept his composure.
He didn't cross the line ever.
And I think I was actually very interested in storyline in this series. The Oilers basically never did cross the line. Like there was that one game, which would have been game 3, which was getting quite physical. But then other than that, like it was pretty quiet besides Trevor Moore taking out some knees. But yeah, just overall, I think Evander Kane was fantastic going from the 4th line on game 1. And now he seems like, he obviously should be the second line, right? Winging next to Leon. So Evander Kane is my unsung hero.
Who's next? Unsung heroes.
Well, Liam took the dramatic pick off the board. I'm going to go with just the team versatility. I leading into this playoffs, I felt like the Oilers needed to show a couple of different versions of themselves to be able to go to that next step. And they did this playoff round for me. They came out and they ran and gunned the LA Kings out of the building, and they shut down the LA Kings out of the building. So it's the versatility of the team, a team that is known as power play merchants and offensive. They did some different things in that series. So.
Unsung hero, Tyler or Rick? Who you got?
Well, I'll go next here. And I know I brought him up on Tuesday, but it's Matthias Janmark. It just quietly does his thing. Whenever there's somebody we want to bring in the lineup, his name is usually amongst 2 or 3 different names on,
Never gets sent to prison.
Exactly, right? So, but he just quietly does his thing, keeps his nose clean, stays out of trouble, keeps the team out of trouble, doesn't really make any mistakes. And you guys pointed out the other day, he's found his way onto the score sheet a couple times.
Couple of assists for Matthias Janmark in the 5 games. I agree. I thought he was really, really solid. He was using his wheels. He was transporting the puck well. He was hard on the forecheck.
Just a smart veteran playoff player.
He just is quietly steady. And I say that as a complete compliment.
That's what you want of your 4th-line players, in my opinion.
Kills penalties. He'll give you responsible minutes. And I think as you get lower in the lineup, it's going to be huge because as we saw last year and in playoffs previous, that hasn't always been the case when the big dogs aren't on the ice, where they play quiet, steady minutes. And I thought Matthias Janmark did a great job.
I'll go another guy was great on the PK and great on the power play. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Again, at 5-on-5, I totally understand. Sometimes he leaves you wanting a little bit more. But as I watched the Oilers kill off every single penalty kill that they had to get through. The one guy or one of the guys who I kept looking at and going, "Ooh, that was a nice play. Ooh, that was a nice play." It was Nugent-Hopkins for me. So I know, again, people get frustrated with him, and I think it's weird because they lump him in almost with McDavid and Draisaitl to an extent, and it's like he's a $5 million player.
I think it's because he's a first overall pick, and if he was like a 10th, everybody would be like, "He's the shit."
Yeah, but he has developed into this perfect little role for the Oilers, where he is a great complementary piece on the power play. He stays afloat at 5-on-5, and he's been great on the PK. Can play center, can play wing, all that stuff. So everything you love about Nuge, I felt like it came through in this series. I like that he was being a bit of a prick to Drew Doughty at different points as well. So all of it, I liked what I saw from the Nuge.
I also want to give some love, talking about unsung heroes, to playoff Brett Kulak.
Yes, I was going to say that.
In game 5, he played just over 13 minutes, but he was all over the ice.
You find himself in the offensive zone, like leading plays sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like,
he's got great wheels.
That's the last person you assumed it was.
You know,
like, how fast is this guy?
We laugh sometimes when we're like, we think Fogel's McDavid sometimes. There was a couple of shifts in game 5 where Kulak was up in the rush, and I was like, let's go, Fogel.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, that's Kulak. Why is Kulak up there? And where's Fogel?
Fogel's on the blue line.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What's going on?
I guess if we're going to add a third leg to the delicious debate, then who needs to pick it up in round 2?
Well, this is I'm glad you asked it, and the boys took some flack for it on real life for the Corey Perry call out. And I just think that anybody that we lay out here, the caveat is that it's okay to accept that they didn't have the best first round, but that we expect that they will have a better second, third, and Stanley Cup final.
So I'll start off exactly that. Warren Fogel's a guy we know it's in there. We watched him all season. I would love contract year Fogel to come out in round 2. I know he's better than what we got from him in round 1. So if I'm picking a guy, McLovin's my dude.
Perry's mine, and I got roasted for bringing it up. So
I think it's just the roasting was the adjective.
Disappointed?
Yes, to me that's a very end of the road use adjective. There's other options.
How soft are we getting here?
No, it's like when your parents are mad. It's like your parents are mad at you. You're like, oh, it sucks. But your parents say, "I'm disappointed in you." That's a different kind of.
Okay, well, I'm not Corey Perry's dad.
But being disappointed in what we got,
attitude,
being disappointed in what we got out of Corey Perry or Warren Fogel, or whoever you want to put their name in there, like that's okay.
Like, Corey Perry's going to be Corey Perry. Also, like Duncan Keith, he's going to bring intangibles, things we don't see. Dressing room, bench,
yep, absolutely.
But like when I'm talking about Warren Fogel, I know it's in there, so I want more out of him. We saw it all year. That's why I want more out of Warren Fogel.
I would list a guy like Adam Henrique. Now I know he's banged up, and we've seen that now. He missed practice today, or didn't practice today. Not that they needed to practice, but Henrique came out and got that goal in the first game, and you thought, oh shit, this is exactly why we picked him up. And I do think it's still going to continue to come, but he looked really good on that top line to start, and hasn't really looked the same.
That's fair.
I'm just gonna say the entire team has to take the next step now. Like you're going from round 1 to round 2.
You're gonna get roasted.
You're going from round 1 to round 2. You're gonna play a better team. The whole team's got to be a little bit better now.
Of course, it's not fair to say, Rick. That's not fair to say.
I took it.
It only gets harder round by round.
Yeah. And you're gonna have to increase your play, and you're gonna have to find a new level. And welcome to the playoffs. That's what we have to do. Yeah. Every single one of us in here, we have to cheer a little bit harder, have an extra beer, do whatever you got to do.
Damn it, I'm in.
Listen, it's playoffs. That's what we have to do.
Liam, you got anybody that sticks out as you just want them to improve? You're not disappointed in them as people. You would just like them to be a little bit higher the oomph on the ice.
There's not really anybody new. Like the good thing about round 1 and why the Oilers were able to finish it so quickly is because the majority of the guys played really well. And I think Fogel and Perry were the only two where it's like, I would like to see a little bit more from the two of you. But I think one thing that held Perry back was what I said in my previous answer was it just wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't the chippiness around it. Like, and I think maybe that's what helps Perry get going a little bit offensively too, if he can be around that a little bit more. So maybe we see that more against Vancouver and he can piss off JT Miller or something like that, right? So
I want to get to the crease and go and get whatever goaltender they have in there and just stand there. People get angry just because you're standing with half a foot in the blue and a foot and a half outside the blue. People get angry. Just stand there.
The refs were also on Perry in this one. Like they were looking for reasons to give Corey Perry penalties, which is unfortunate for him.
Another guy that I would just say is I thought he had a really good series actually on the defensive side of the puck. I would just love to see a goal for Ryan McLeod. I feel like he would loosen him up a little bit offensively if he got a goal, but I thought he was fantastic as a two-way forward.
He's on one of his streaks right now.
Are you weird question? I know you want goals and stuff, but are you really hoping? Like to me, I just want to keep doing what he's doing and keep that two-way game, keep that defensive side of things buckled down, and I'm not too
100%.
worried about points out of him right now.
As you start to play more difficult teams, Rick,
You're at the fine point.
You might need a little bit extra from everyone. I think that little bit extra from McLeod will be finding a way.
Like, he had a great series. I thought defensively, Ryan McLeod he's turning into a wizard out there on the two-way side of the game. But like, even just a point.
Because I
feel like it would loosen him up a little bit, like not grip the stick on the other end of the ring.
Depending on who wins tonight, or Game 7 when it happens, if it has to happen, you're going to want him to be down there and making a exit for Hughes as difficult as possible. And I think you could probably actually skate with him too.
Yeah, I mean, like Quinn Hughes, if you're watching the Vancouver-Nashville series, he's a fantastic.
So
defender
like
and
guys like
defender.
him and guys like Makar, you cannot allow them to wind up with speed. And I think a guy like Ryan McLeod can get in there, and even if they do get past him a bit, he can be right behind them, right on their heels, and disrupt their flow.
No, again, like with Ryan McLeod, I loved the way he played the Kopitar line. I love the way he played defensively. His wheels are fantastic. I just feel when he gets a little bit of mojo offensively, then he's a really complete player.
Yeah.
That's all.
He needs to find more offense. I mean, I agree totally. Like his third line play is that defensive guy is fantastic, but doesn't really shoot the puck. Like you do need more from him. I just
when I say that, I just don't want him to like I don't want to lose anything defensively to try and cheat offensively.
Yeah, totally.
So sure, shoot more, get around the net, fantastic. But continue what you're doing right now as a bare minimum. And then if we get the points, cool.
You know what you said it like something probably a better line I should say about Ryan McLeod. Don't pass up your chances to shoot. Because with those wheels, sometimes he finds himself in a spot where he's looking for the extra pass. Man, you got a great shot.
And it's funny, like he's almost too fast for his hands and his brain.
Sometimes, yeah.
So and that's nothing bad.
But
like
he got a great shot ripping.
Dude flies out there.
4 shots in that series for McLeod.
Yeah, don't pass up your chances to shoot.
Yeah,
if you're Ryan McLeod.
And he's playing with a guy like Corey Perry who's going right to the crease. Exactly. So even when you're coming down the wing, fire to the middle of the pads and look for rebounds.
Yep.
Last goal.
Simple plays.
March 21st.
Simple plays like that go a long way in the playoffs, especially because everything gets tighter. Regardless of who they face in the second round, whether it's Vancouver or Nashville, they're going to have to get more greasy goals. And they got a bunch of them against LA, don't get me wrong. But that's just got to be a focus, I think. So like what you said, flying down the wing, rip it at the pads, Corey Perry's crashing the net. That's just fundamentals.
Yeah.
Love to see it. I want to go back to Game 5, though. Obviously, Oilers closed it out. Not a perfect win by any chance or by any means, but you take it. The Oilers did exactly what they needed to do, especially on the power play. I know they only got 1 power play goal, technically.
And 2 that were within a second or two.
So I want to ask you guys something because part of the fun I had on Wednesday night was once the Oilers took the lead, I started diving into King's Twitter and Reddit.
I did too.
Were the referees biased for the Oilers, which is a narrative that is out there everywhere outside of Edmonton, or did they finally just start getting called for their bullshit?
I didn't see a bad call on any of the penalties. They were actual penalties that you have to call them. And yes, it's frustrating to see one team get a couple power plays like that, but you can't deny that those are actual penalties.
I think that Kings fans do have an argument for it, but I also just think in general the refs weren't fantastic overall. Like just think into Game 5 specifically. So
not consistent.
Yeah, but like the Corey Perry one, like he fell.
Yeah, he legitimately
like, what is he supposed to do? And the ref is right there.
I agree.
And I think the Dubois call was a bit weak, but they called it a hold. I think that was more of a trip, I guess, more than anything. But then the hook and then the clear dive by Fiala was great. Like great officiating because they both were penalties.
And also Fiala had been doing that all series. And sometimes when refs, sorry to cut you off, but I just don't want to lose my train of thought on this one. Sometimes when the officials call a dive, you'll almost see they'll like shoot up their hand and then the play will like get touched, and then they'll almost be like, "Ooh, yeah, that was a dive." He threw his arm up, immediately blew it, gone, dive. And those are the same refs they had earlier in the series when Fiala was flopping around. So
and
you reap what you sow.
If you watch that play, I don't like if that was an Oiler that did that, I would be able to admit that was a dive.
Yeah.
Do you agree with there being a penalty and a dive on the same play?
Yes.
So do I.
Because I think that was a clear hook.
Yes, and then a clear dive.
And then he dove out. Like, there was no need for him
Yeah,
to dive.
like you're embellishing the hook. There's the hook, and then you embellished it as well.
Yeah, because at first I said to Tyler, I was like, why call both?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I think a lot of times you have
and
to
call the embellishment, but you look the replay.
You have to, I think.
It's clear. I think that was the right decision. And a lot of the Kings fans, too, from what I was seeing on Twitter as well, were complaining about the England call in game 4 that would have been.
Yeah.
But if they go and look at the other penalty, because there was only 2 in that period, in that game, Brett Kulak didn't even touch.
No, he did 2 minutes for being stronger.
He literally turned, and I'm not even saying Dano embellished.
That's behind the net, right?
No,
It
it
was
was
in the
right in
crease.
front of the net.
Okay.
And Dano instinctively moved because he would have got hit in the face, but he didn't. So both calls were bad. But I don't know. What did you say, Rick? The Oilers had more penalties, but only 30 seconds more.
8 more power plays, but 19 more seconds on the ice.
Well,
like even
when you score
Crazy.
on over half,
That's
of
what
your
it, that's
power
what, that's
plays,
what 1,000% what it
That's
means.
where
though.
it plays.
But it goes back to like, hey, Kings fans are complaining about the officiating. Okay, so what? Do you feel like your power play would have scored if we gave you 3 more chances?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
4
you were
more chances?
0%.
Nope.
That's a great counterpoint. I just think Oiler fans, we can just acknowledge that we got calls in that
0
last game, and that's okay. Like it doesn't happen very often to Oiler fans in general, where we feel like we got the calls refereeing, and it just is what it is. It's funny to watch the LA Kings, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Las Vegas Golden Knights fans complain about refereeing.
I actually thought Drew Doughty post game in game 5 said it well. He goes, listen, you're not going to blame the refs. We didn't score. We lost 4-1. You're not blaming the refs.
Exactly. And I thought that was just told you a story of who Doughty is as a player and who Victor Albertson is as a player, telling
Big rat bitch boy.
F you to the refs in the series. I was like, man, just move on. Like, you lost. Your power play was 0%.
Doughty between the buzzer and the drop of the puck, terrible. Doughty afterwards,
I don't mind him at all.
I like him afterwards.
Yeah.
But between 0 and 60,
The worst.
annoys the shit out of me. Outside, I'm cool with him.
So this is, I know we need to get to betting talk and then Perlini still, but every series has kind of had like a defining moment, like something at least in my brain, like when I think back, part 1 against the Kings, it's Connor's goal. BOA, Connor's OT winner. Series against Colorado, the Makar review. Last year, I guess it would be Yamamoto's goal. That's the one that really stands out to me, is like the moment that I'll remember is the winner in game 6. And against Vegas, Draisaitl's one performance, like Draisaitl's goal scoring run, we'll call it. What's your guys' moment you think 5 years from now when you think Kings Oilers part 3? What'll be the moment that jumps in your brain?
I will never forget, because we were there, the save that never was from Big Save Dave when Leon Draisaitl scored. And
that was good.
In the crowd, it was like, wow, that was a crazy save. And then you see the replay and just, it obviously went in, and just like that moment, I was like, the Oilers are winning this game. It's over.
Are you talking about from the whole series?
Yeah, whole series.
Yeah.
Stu's performance in game 4.
Oh, that's a good one.
I just think that, yes, a lot of the shots were on the perimeter, 100%. But Stu went in there. He handled his business. He was quiet in the crease. He didn't give up unnecessary rebounds. He was a starting goalie in this league, and a damned fine one at that. And he showed it in game 4.
And don't forget, one of those goals was the stanchion guy. Whoever put the boards together there, that's on
He
them.
hit the camera hole.
In games
Keep
3,
that damn thing closed, sir.
It was closed.
Open it up then, sir.
in games 3 and 4, Stuart Skinner faced 61 shots and allowed only 1 goal. So when I think back to the first rounds later on down the road, I've got all the love for Stu.
I'm gonna think of penalty kill. You almost expect us to put up those kind of numbers on the power play, but I don't think you really expect the Edmonton Oilers to put up a goose egg the way they did on the PK.
For me, it's period number 3 of game 3 when England checks Kane in the head. That moment, I felt like the Kings broke. You looked at Hiller's reaction on the bench. You look at the way that the players were just kind of like, oh, we thought that was going to be evened up, and it didn't work out our way for us as the Kings. That from that moment on, I feel like their soul was stomped out, and that was it.
That was a crazy moment because they got 2 roughing penalties from that.
There's also
really weird.
that same hit. Seeing Dylan Holloway jump in without hesitation, you love to see that from the kid too.
Yep,
he's got that dog in him.
Woof woof.
Any other moments?
No.
Let's talk a little betting, gentlemen. This betting segment is brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of Oilers Nation Radio. Open up an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Just use the promo code OILYBONUS. We are Oily Boys, and your promo code is Oily Bonus. Oily Bonus. Liam, what's the promo code?
Oily bonus.
I've got a couple of futures I want to talk about with you boys. When I did this segment on Better Late Than Never on Wednesday, the Edmonton Oilers were cup favorites. They were the number 1 cup favorites, but they were tied with the Hurricanes. They were plus 400 on Wednesday. Today, as we are talking Friday afternoon, Oilers plus 350 cup favorites. How do you feel about that, Tyler?
I'll be honest. I think they deserve to be the Stanley Cup favorites. I think in round 2, they could make quick work of whoever they play, and I think they have the easiest path out of everybody.
Let me round out the top 5 before everybody else chimes in. We got the Oilers at plus 350. They're the favorites. We've got the Hurricanes at plus 400 there next up. We've got the Panthers at plus 500. We've got the Avs at plus 550 and the Rangers at plus 600. Rick, you agree with that order? Disagree? Any thoughts on it? Oilers, Hurricanes, Panthers, Avs, Rangers.
Hurricanes, Panthers, Rangers. I would have the Panthers a little higher, I think.
But I think they don't. The Panthers have to play the winner of the Toronto series, correct?
Boston, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I think I'm okay with that. It's probably really, really difficult to try and put those together and try and pick this team, that team, this team, that team. All I know is that I did a really good job when I jumped on the Edmonton Oilers plus 1,500.
Yeah, I got them at plus 900.
Just to remember.
You did well.
365 a lot.
Thank you.
Like, I was later than you.
Yeah, I mean,
I doubled down.
I'd have to guess maybe November-ish. I'm not too sure.
Dan, what do you think about how the public's putting their money right now?
That one feels like the public may be pushing Edmonton up a little bit higher than Carolina, because I think the models still favor Carolina overall as the favorite public.
You mean their path to the...
Yeah.
But so here's my thing is I think Carolina can beat the Rangers.
Yeah.
Rangers are the President's Trophy winners. They're meeting in round 2. But even then, I'd say there's a 60% chance Carolina wins that series. I think there's a 75% chance the Oilers win their series. So that's why I think the Oilers deserve to be a little higher, just percentage of being knocked out in round 2 and having the run be over.
Yeah, the path is definitely it's making it easier to pick the Oilers there for sure.
Again, we were working through the betting segment courtesy of our friends at Bet365. Couple of just for the F1 fans in the room, Liam, Dan.
Woohoo! Miami Grand Prix this weekend, right?
Miami Grand Prix this weekend.
Do you guys bet on first? Do you just bet on second place?
Well, let me ask you, Rick. Would you bet on Max Verstappen to win at minus 700?
Whoa.
Minus 700. That is
but one the last
absolutely insane.
What a difficult proposition.
His level of dominance in the sport is unbelievable. And honestly, one of the only things to watch for right now is just watching his dominance.
But it's not fun.
It's not fun, but the way I look at it, well, depending if
can't they just can't they put him in
the Netherlands, or are you a fan of
can't they put him at the back of make him start at the back of the grid every time?
Or Germany?
I would love to see
get through. Yeah, watch him climb from 20 to 1. At least this way, he's not going to get to lap 37, and you only have 50 more laps of him running away with it.
I wish we could just for a race stick him in a Williams and see how he does.
Rick is advocating for Mario Kart rules here, where you have to.
I'm all for Mario Kart.
Why not?
Yeah.
This, and then all of a sudden, Bet365 can bring the number back down a bit and get some more play this way. I'll get involved in that. That's for the
if I bet on Verstappen at minus 700 and someone hits him with a blue shell, I'm going to be fucking right pissed, Rick.
Got to check those weather reports ahead of the game.
I got one for you, Tyler. We're talking futures here with our friends at Bet365. We've got our guest here. Well, again, before we get to Brendan Perlini, I want to say
for sure.
If you're going to open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets, so whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use the promo code OILYBONUS. Dan, what's that promo code?
Oily bonus.
Shout out to our friends at Bet365, our favorite book here at Oilers Nation Radio. For our friends at Boston Pizza, it's time to welcome in Brendan Perlini, former Edmonton Oiler, Lamborghini Perlini, we lovingly call him around here. It's been 30 years since the Canadian team has won hockey's ultimate prize, and for some teams, it's been a lot longer than that. What would it take for Canadian hockey fans to set aside their differences and work together to end this drought? Is it their team or nothing? Or could you get behind a rival under the right circumstances?
No. All right, back on Oilers Nation Radio. Special guest joining us this week, Brendan Perlini, the former Oiler, and yes, as BM said, the man we lovingly call Lamborghini Perlini. And I want to start there, Lambo, if I can call you that. We have heard that sometimes players don't love the nicknames we give them. Is Lamborghini Perlini okay?
Man, I want to ask you guys this. Do you know like how that started or no?
We bear a little bit of the responsibility, I think.
So it was the Photoshop after you scored the preseason, you had the big game in the preseason, and someone Photoshopped your face onto Lamborghini tires and called you Lamborghini Perlini, and that's honestly where it started.
Okay, I didn't know if like I seen a guy with a jersey on with that. Like,
for sure.
I didn't know if that was like up front, like right away, or like that makes sense that it kind of started from that. But like, if you want like the full kind of, I guess, story from my side of things of what I seen, like my parents kind of seen like a little bit of that early on, like, oh, they're calling you this funny name. I'm like, oh, all right, whatever. And like, I think it was, do you guys remember like what actual goal that was? Because I don't, but I remember like it was like a goal and it was like boom, like overnight, like, and this was in preseason, right?
Yeah.
Like, so we're still kind of in training camp, and I'm staying like across the way, like in what is it, the Marriott there, right beside the rink. And so every day, like after practice, you know, like you're spending however much time in the hotel. I'm like, okay, I need to get the hell out of here. So at that time, like, you know, I didn't really like, it's getting a little bit colder, didn't want to walk around. I would take those Lime scooters, like buzzing around. Right. And, I kid you not, I come out of, I don't know, I forget the name of the street right there. Like that separates the road in between the arena and the Marriott.
104th. Yeah.
Yeah. So I come out of the hotel and I head straight left down that road, and I come to the first set of lights there, and I'm like on the scooter, and I'm literally like, it's cold out now. I've got like full on like balaclava, like mask, like up to here. I got a toque on and like my hood on over that.
We'll still find you.
And I kid you not, man, like I came to the to the first light, and this guy like blows through like a light, and he goes, "Yo, Lamborghini Perlini!" I'm like, I don't know if we can swear on the show or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was like, how the fuck did that guy just recognize me? Like, I literally looked like this. Like, that was the only thing, like, showing. Full-on mask on, a toque and everything. And then it happened, like, again, like a day later. Like, the same sort of thing. I was buzzing down the street on one of those Lime scooters, and somebody yelled at. I'm like, that was the first kind of time like I recognized them. I was like, holy shit, this is kind of like, this is kind of crazy. This is different than playing in Arizona or something.
That was going to be my follow-up, was like, okay, you played in Arizona for a number of years. You were in Chicago and Detroit. Like, Chicago and Detroit are massive hockey markets as well. How different is Edmonton, though?
It's just different, man, because like Detroit and Chicago, like even those two are like separate, you know. I'll say like, and this is not a knock on like any one of those, but like Chicago is way more of like I'm not gonna say a hockey town, but like sports have just been bigger there the last 10 years, right? They've won 3 cups, like people know you kind of around town and stuff, but they know you as like the Blackhawks player, really. Right. Like it, you know, aside from, you know, Taze and Kane or whatever, like they'll know like those guys and stuff, but they kind of just say, oh, you're a Hawks player. But in Canada, I would say in general, and I don't know if it's like I never played in Toronto or whatever, but from what I heard from buddies, whether it's Toronto, Ottawa, Edmonton, it's just like, they know date of birth, they know what
they know everything
they go to, it's, and I've seen that, but it's really cool, man. Like I had such a good time out there, and like the people are so awesome out west, and I didn't really know, like everyone kind of, said when I got there, oh, Alberta is different to Ontario, because I only really spent a lot of time in Ontario, right? And seeing that, like the people are just a little bit different, a little more like, how do I say this? Like they kind of described it in the States as like almost like Texas, where it's a little more Wild Westy. So I don't know if that's right or not, but
yeah, no, that works.
I love it though. I love it. Yeah, I had a great time out there, and even like, man, just lifestyle and everything, and like it's so different because, and sorry if I'm rambling, but like, as the road team, you come in and you come in, you fly in the afternoon, like it's already getting dark around 4 p.m. The snowbank's 10 foot high, whatever. Like you're just like, where the hell did we land? Right? You're coming from like 85 degrees in Arizona. Like it's just such a like different selling point as opposed to like when I was there from the start, like early September, and you see it sunny, you see it with no snow, you get like the full kind of, seasonal aspect going into the winter. I like appreciate it a lot more, and actually like had a lot more fun in the city and got to know it a lot better. And so, yeah, it's very interesting, really.
Well, you apologize for going long there. Sorry, Bag Milk. But I just, Brendan, one of the things that Edmonton fans fell in love with you for was it's now coined the Zen speech that you gave post game. And I'm just kind of curious, you give these unique perspectives and this unique kind of life experience. Where does that come from? Where did you get that?
I don't know if like it, comes from a specific place. I mean, I think it's just, I'm a deep thinker, and especially like when it comes to sports, I try to, think about things just in a different way. Especially like there's so many cliches in hockey and cliche answers, and we didn't like. I guess in speaking in terms of like that specific interview, guys just say all the time, like, oh, we didn't get pucks deep, and we didn't do this, and we didn't do it. And it actually fucking pisses me off, to be honest. Like listening to it, there's no, like, I'm not going to say, like, personality, but it's the same kind of monotonous thing. And I fell into that myself. And I guess, like, I got a couple different, like, ways of going about this here. So the actual, like, that perspective, I guess I can't really like put my finger on, but the first time, like, if you guys want to hear a funny story of like
Absolutely.
When I first sort of started to kind of mess with the media a little bit, basically like you always see guys sort of like have this like tension with the media, right? Obviously you've seen it in Leon and stuff before, right around that time, right? He had that answer, why are you so pissy, blah, 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 or whatever. So I always sort of looked at it like, man, if you treat them like shit, obviously they're going to do the same thing about you, and they're going to write about you bad. And at the end of the day, they're just people. Like, they're not, you guys know yourselves, like, people aren't out to like get someone, and like, like it's sort of like a negative way of like even viewing that, of like, this guy's out to fuck me over, and this guy's out to write bad about me and my fan. It's sort of really, really weird. But anyway, long story short, when I was in Chicago, I went on like a real kind of hot run, and I scored like, it was like 8 goals in 6 or 7 games or something like that. And we're in like March, like chasing down a playoff spot. And so we had like, it was like an optional skate or something. And I came to the arena, skated, and there was only a few guys skating. And so most of the guys took off. So I knew they wanted to like I was really the only guy around. So I knew I'd have to be getting interviewed. So I was like, oh shit. Like, I tried to get the gear off, get out quick. And I went into like our kitchen area, and I started eating this yogurt. And funny enough, our kind of media guy comes to me, and he says, oh, I know you don't really want to do media and stuff today and you want to leave like real quick. I get it. But would you mind just like talking to like one guy or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. And obviously one guy turns into 50 you're waiting, right? And so I told him, like, as we're walking over, I'm like, but I'm bringing this fucking yogurt with me, all right? And he's like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, do whatever. So I walk into the thing and we start the interview, and then I just like start eating this yogurt, and all the like people who were asking the questions like start laughing and stuff. And I kind of did the old Happy Gilmore. I was like, wow, what you guys laughing at? Like, don't you know my new sponsor? And I looked at it and was like, Chobani Yogurts. And took a big spoonful and like pointed to the camera and stuff. I still have the clip like somewhere. Yes. Somebody put it on Twitter or something. But obviously they were all laughing and stuff. I kid you not. Next morning I woke up. I had a DM from Chobani Yogurt saying, hey, we've seen the interview. We want to supply you for the rest of the year. Man, I had a whole damn fridge worth of yogurt show up like overnight. So it was like, I said this to my brother. I said this to like a bunch of people. My mom was like, oh yeah, ask for a vacuum next time in the media. We need a new one at home. So yeah, it was funny, man. And that was the first time that I really realized like the power of like social media and just the media in general, of like, you can really sway the conversation, wherever you want it to go. And just because somebody asks you, a question, whether it's you think it's negative or positive or whatever way they want to direct you, right. Well, you don't have to answer it. You can do whatever the hell you want and give whatever answer back, right? So
I love it. And now you're going to get more DMs from the yogurt company.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm running out here. But now I'm off dairy, so coconut milk. Well.
Yeah, dude needs a vacuum now.
Yeah, you need a vacuum.
We gotta spin this now somehow.
We gotta stock your place, Brendan, with whatever you need. You mentioned your time in Arizona a couple of times, and obviously we got the news that the team is going to be moving to Utah. When you think about your time there, does anything kind of stick out about playing in the desert, and just your general thoughts on having that chapter of the franchise history come to a close?
Yeah, man, it's I'm not gonna lie, like it sucks. I feel there's a lot of good people there around the organization, and who work at the arenas and stuff like that. And it just like hockey does really I'm not gonna say the kind of cliche, I guess, of hockey belongs in the desert, but it does. Like if they figured it out there as far as like arena, and they got like a really good setup, man, what person doesn't like to live out in there? It's sunny and 70 every day, and or I should say sunny and 25.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Nice. Got the calculator out right now.
Yeah. So it's it's just a great place to be, and they just never really had, like in my time there, it felt like they never really had like answers for direction, I guess, of like, the ownership. And there was a few different ownership changes while I was there. And then they bring in, other guys, other management guys, and every guy's got a different philosophy. Oh, we need LA won the cup. We need all big guys. Then, Pittsburgh wins a cup. We need this style of player. And it becomes like a revolving door, right? And, it's too bad, really, of that they had to move. But hopefully, I know the guy there still has the option to kind of bring them back as expansion. So hopefully they can do that, and they can figure out like a stable plan, right? I think as bad as it sounds, like it actually takes something like this to like them to rip the organization out and be like, all right, we're moving it, for them to be like, holy shit, like, because I think sometimes the owners are I don't know, but I think. Maybe they're like, they're bluffing. They would
just
never move the team, or so I don't know who really knows what's going on behind the scenes, right?
Where's the ultimate spot to put an arena that's going to work?
Man, I think like, so it's got to be somewhere close, like in Scottsdale, Phoenix area there. Just because I think when we were out in Glendale, like for us, the players, it was like, everyone lives in Scottsdale. It was a 45-minute drive out there in traffic. Oh, it was like over an hour. So you're sitting in the car for like over 2 hours on game day, like going down there for pregame skate and then coming back and then again. And so I think somewhere like around there, that was us guys alone, let alone like the fans getting off work at 5 o'clock, right, picking up the kids, getting dinner, then driving an hour to the game, and you got to do that like 41 times a year. Like, good luck with that. So something that's somewhat local, like look how Edmonton has it, right downtown. And so I think that's something maybe that could work.
I'm going to bring it back to the Oilers, but buckle up. I'm hitting you with a hard journalist question. This is a serious one. We've kind of always had this conversation as Oilers fans and as people who follow the team of like, what's the leadership group like? Because Connor and Leon wear the letters, but sometimes, at least from the outside, they don't come off as guys who are going to, be overly vocal. From your time around that team and in the room, and hey, I mean, you're a guy who played with Jonathan Toews, Captain Series, and Brent Seabrook and stuff like that. From your time around the Oilers, how would you describe the leadership group?
Yeah, man, that's an interesting one, actually. So I played with those guys. I think Taser, and I played with Donor too, right? My first year, and I thought those two guys are like the best leaders by a mile I've ever played with. In comparison to those guys, it's sort of tough because, they've, maybe not Donor per se as far as like winning, but, when they go through like a 20-year career and stuff, it's just kind of a different level. I think like it's hard because I'm sure they've grown a lot in the last few years as far as the runs they've made. At that specific time when I was with them, we're talking over 2+ years ago now. It's not on the level of like a Taser per se, but that's kind of to be, expected. Like I think McDavid was 25 at that time, and it's like, man, how do you really expect a 25-year-old to, absolutely command a room? Like we had a lot of older guys, right? Of Mike Smith, Kyle Turris, who else would have been there at that time? Tyson Barrie, like so many good Duncan Keith. Like, so, those guys took, I would say, a lot more of that load on. And, but yeah, hopefully, like, I think it just, the more the years goes on and like, these guys get the experience and going deep in the playoffs, like it's a matter of time. Like, and I think they got a really, really good chance this year. Like I don't think, who do they play next? Is it between Dallas and
Vancouver, Nashville?
Yeah, I think like they'll smash them. Like either one of them.
We like to
like
hear that.
Yeah, I think they should, like no doubt. And then like I think they got a pretty decent path to the cup, if I'm honest. So
how much do you still pay attention to like the NHL playoffs and things like that?
Didn't really watch much of the regular season, and then I like kind of checking up on friends and stuff. So I had like Ilya Lyubushkin's a really good friend on Toronto, trained with Matthews for like the last 6 or 7 years out in Scottsdale. So I always like to kind of check on how those guys are doing. And then, obviously follow Edmonton a little bit, like now in the playoffs, just because, still some guys there who I played with, but not, I'm not sitting up watching every single game. I'll kind of pick and choose, like, and those ones are harder because they're on later.
Right.
But yeah, freaking Toronto, they're always hogging up all the TV, right? So yeah, they'll be on majority of the time. My dad obviously played for the Leafs and stuff and watches them quite a bit too. So now that I'm back home, we had the game on last night, kind of watching them a little bit.
Last one for me, it's going to be a little bit more tied to your time down in Bakersfield, but looking at who was down there with you during your time in Baco, and like, Dylan Holloway's up now playing playoff games. Philip Broberg's gotten his cup of coffees. Vinny Desharnais has turned into like an everyday impact NHL defenseman. When you were down in Bakersfield, is there one of those guys who stands out, or maybe one of your other teammates you were like, man, this guy's going to be really damn good one day?
You know what? I thought the guy who was going to be really good moving on, and we're still somewhat buddies. I played against him this year, was Sam Marukov. I thought he was going to get a really good chance that next year after that, but obviously I think they ended up trading him like that next year. Yeah, but I'm trying to think of like who the younger guys were down there at that time. Like Broberg was already a really good player and stuff, and he'll just develop even more and more. And it's like I think it's hard in that scenario too, when like you're a highly touted like prospect per se or pick, and you got to step into a team that it's like they need to win now, like right? Like so I think that's like, it's hard for a young guy, man, because there's a lot of like, it's not like when I was in Arizona, you can kind of just sort of dip your toe in the waters and ease into the league, and because there's no real pressure and stuff like that. So I think it's tough on like a guy like Probes, but I wish him the best, man. I know he's got a lot of game, and hopefully if they give him a really good chance, I think he can show that. A shout out to Bugsy Malone too. I heard he's retiring.
He is
there.
played his last game the other night.
Yeah, I heard he's retiring. So shout out to him. I love him. Really good guy. You know what? When I went down to Bakersfield, some great guys down there. Him, Griffith. We had Esposito down there. Who else am I missing? Cracknell. Adam Cracknell was down there. Some really good guys. So shout out to all those guys.
Last question I have for you, Brendan, is we were cruising through your Twitter account to get prep for this, and I saw you got a course on learning to play pickleball. What is it about pickleball that kind of registers with you?
Well, I did. I don't know if it's still active. That came out last year. I've been. Let me just say this real quick. I've been kind of getting into like some other hobbies away from the arena, and the older you get too, it's like you sort of realize that hockey isn't just your whole entire being, right? And so now I'm kind of diving into some other stuff, and I actually got coming out next week. It's perfect timing for this. Is my YouTube channel. So I got a golf and hockey thing, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. So the first one drops like on Mondays, like all kind of golf stuff I'm going to do every Mondays, and then on the Fridays I'm going to do it's all like behind the scenes hockey stuff. So like the first episode I'm releasing in the hockey stuff is like some guys I played with who I really liked, some guys who I played with who I didn't like, and some stories about like all of them. And so any sort of like, I got a thing explaining like one kind of episode per se, or video explaining like how money on the board works, where the money goes, things like that. Like not a lot of people know like what the hell that even means. Just anything to do behind the scenes. Like I'll talk about the draft behind the scenes, the combine, what it's like at rookie camp, what it's like at training camp. I have like a ton of stuff that I've been kind of doing up. So
what's the golf side of things?
Golf side is really fun too. It's the early ones are sort of so. It's me kind of playing with some buddies. Like I did a couple matches last year. Didn't really know what the hell I was doing. Just kind of took a camera out and was filming and tried to kind of do it the best. But now that like I was playing in Charlotte this year, so you could play like I was out every day. So right. I really kind of got into it and got into the whole cutting and editing aspect and the social media side of things. And so
you do the whole video yourself?
Yeah. So a couple different cameras, and now I'm kind of trying to get linked up around Michigan here with sort of a kid who's just come out of college for like doing film work and stuff like that. So we'll see if we can start taking it a little different direction. But
what's that golf game look like right now?
It's good, man. Yeah,
it's good. What are we shooting?
Actually, I'm playing in the U.S. Open qualifier in 2 weeks.
Come on.
I think the 13th it is. So, I played in it last year for the first time. Me and my brother played in tournaments growing up, like a lot, and then we stopped kind of around like 15-ish. Yeah. And just this past year I had a little more time, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, like I need to go back in a couple tournaments. And just to say, like the first one I went in the US Open one, and I was like, at least I can look back and say like, fuck, I tried to compete for getting into the US Open. And then I just really enjoyed it, so I did another one, and then I did this one around the area. It's called like the Michigan Amateur. So it's like the whole state of Michigan, and the same kind of thing. You try and qualify, and then once you get into it, you do like match play and all this kind of stuff. So, that's awesome. Yeah, I got all that kind of coming up, which will be fun. And but sorry, what the heck was your actual question? I don't know.
Well, now I need to know what's the YouTube page.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what is the YouTube?
Yeah, it's just under my name, just Brendan Perlini. It's really like probably like 16 subscribers or something right now, but
we'll get it to at least 27.
Yeah, just getting her going up there now. And it's not even from a place of like I'm not doing it to make money. I'm not doing it like for any other reason than just something else to do, and it's a lot of fun. And I think like I've actually always, like, me and my brother have been really good at like creating videos and doing funny skits and shit, and kind of having a personality behind the camera. So
we'll have to see if we can't get him down here for the Oilers Nation golf tournament. See if how the scheduling works for that one.
Yeah, when do you guys do it?
It's right before the long weekend in September.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that might be
might be a little tight for you with camp, but we'll see what we can do. Really appreciate you coming out, Brendan, and taking some time to join us on this episode.
No, yeah, thanks guys for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me use the platform to come on and just shoot shit and see you guys and talk about my stuff. So very grateful, man.
We'll be in touch soon, hopefully, and talk again.
Boston Pizza.
There he goes, our friend Brendan Perlini. For our friends at Boston Pizza, it's been 30 years since the Canadian team has won hockey's ultimate prize, and for some teams, it's been longer than that. What would it take for Canadian hockey fans to set aside their difference and work together to end this drought? Is it their team or nothing? Or can they get behind a rival under the right circumstances? I will say in our Oilersnation.com Instagram account, I'm seeing some Jets fans poke their head in there. We might be able to lure in some Jets fans, Tyler.
I like that. I like the sounds of that.
Perlini, I like it. We're going to add him to the podcast stable. Bring him into the network, boys.
Well, he's entertaining as hell. And if his first episode of the hockey one is him dishing dirt on teammates he didn't like,
we're in.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
I want to watch the money on the board.
Money on the board.
Most fascinating to me.
Yeah, I got some questions.
First of all, like, we all kind of have an idea of how it goes.
Yeah, but I want to know, like,
I want to know how it actually goes.
Do you have any insight into it? Like,
not per se, like, have
you ever heard an amount?
No, that's what I was about to say. They won't deny it, but they won't tell you how much. That's what I wanted to know. Like, are we using like that little yellow thumbtack? Is that big enough to get the stack?
I see, like, we're using,
or are we using like
wallet and then pinning that?
Or are we getting like a drywall screw in there because it's a fat stack?
Or since it's 2024, it's just like, somebody's like e-transfer link.
Just their info, just their email.
Yeah, just like a piece of paper written.
That what? I don't think that's gonna fly. If you're in the dressing room and dude stands up and puts up, "Hey guys, like, come contact me and I'll No. I can't see that. No, I want the carrot. Show me that carrot. Show me the size of that carrot. Then we'll go."
I love it. That was a great interview. Brendan Perlini, Lamborghini Perlini. I love that we were using. Where did that nickname come from? Hey, sorry about that.
Yo,
we
brought up the vacuum. I hope he gets a scooter deal out of this.
Yeah, he needs a scooter. He needs some more yogurt. It's probably out. He needs a vacuum. Make sure his house is all clean.
Mm-hmm.
Dyson.
Say it 6 times though. You got to say it 6 times.
Dyson.
We all need one.
Brendan Perlini loves Dyson. Probably.
Were you a little bit upset that it was that easy for him to get the yogurt? Yeah, you went through a lot of lengths to try and get some
Lunchables.
Yeah.
So if you're new to the podcast and you don't know me personally, this isn't even a shtick. If it's really late at night and I'm hammered, I buy Lunchables en masse. There used to be convenience stores closer to downtown where I would always wander to after a night at the bar, but they're all gone now.
Yeah.
But I used to clear them out of Lunchables, and it got to the point where I was actually in a meeting with the people at Lunchables trying to explain the bit, and they're just like, "Wait a minute, you're how old?" At the time I was probably 35. I was like, "I'm 35." And they're like, "You eat these when you're drunk?" I'm like, "Yeah, all the time." It's not really what our demo is. I'm like, "I know, but like, let's open a new demo."
Yeah, Gatorade leaned into it.
Adult charcuterie boards. That's all they are, really.
Exactly.
Come on.
Blue collar.
Anyway, any final thoughts on Brendan Perlini, boys?
I already subscribed to him on our YouTube. His YouTube name is literally Brendan Perlini.
26 subs.
Bio is, "Hi, my name is Brendan Perlini, current professional hockey player, making videos for golf, among other stuff." 4 videos.
I dig it. Oh, he's already got a couple out there.
Ooh, last one was
Making his
8 months.
thumbnails on Canva.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Is he still got rocking the free account?
Yeah, I think that's
No, he's got a background remover on it. He's a pro account guy.
Okay,
Good for him.
I'm impressed he does all the
Editing.
technical stuff himself. Like, it's one thing to have the cameras and us, but to go home, sit down and watch, and cut and paste and paste.
If you're listening to this right now, go subscribe to his YouTube. Let's really impress him.
Let's try and get it up there.
Yeah, if every listener goes and subscribes,
he's going to have at least 10 more subscribers.
I said we can get him to at least 27.
What are we at now? We're at 22?
26.
Oh, we don't need
I haven't subscribed yet. I'll go do it.
I'm going to go subscribe too. I'll do it right after. I'm focused right now, Liam. I dialed in on the task at hand.
What's next?
Working the board.
We're almost going to wrap up the podcast here with Hot and Cold Performers, but tonight is a big game. I want to talk about the game that's on deck tonight. We are back in Nashville for Game 6 between the Canucks and the Predators. I just want to go around the horn really quick. What are we expecting from tonight's game? Because when you talk to my boy Big Dave over at CanucksArmy.com, he goes, and I'm paraphrasing, he goes, man, if the Canucks blow it in Nashville, I'm really worried about them in Game 7. So they have to finish it tonight. So saith Big Dave Quadrelli. Dan, what are you thinking? Canucks Preds Game 6.
I thought the Predators were going to pull out Game 5, and I was right. I think the Canucks win Game 6, and it's over.
Liam, what do you got?
I'll say the Preds because I think they've been better in this series.
Tyler?
I will say I'm going to go opposite of Liam. The Canucks have not been the better team yet in this series. They're due for a good game. They'll win.
Yeah, I'm sticking with what I said on Tuesday. I think this is the cream rises to the top here, and you'll see some offense come out of that team tonight.
I hope Waz clips Liam's side eye that he gave Tyler there.
They're due. I said that to Owen every day. If someone looks at you and just goes, they're due, you have no counter argument.
No.
That's just an ender.
That is it.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you say? I think this one's going to 7. I think it's going to 7. I think that, and I said this before Game 6, I think that the Canucks are like a very inexperienced team, and it's always that fourth win is always the hardest to get.
But it's not like Nashville is.
But they're playing a style that the Canucks haven't really adapted to yet.
Yeah, it'd be frustrating, or like Vancouver, I think, is the better team, and
they are the better team. But like, can they close the killer instinct? Because it's the same thing. Boston, they just had 2 chances to put the Leafs out of their misery. Now it's going to Game 7 in Boston.
Yeah, I think those 2 teams are closer in talent level than.
Agreed. But like, if you look at the series, Vancouver, Nashville, they've all been tight.
Can we just all admit that it's really, really nice to be done in 5 and not have to go through this?
It's nice to have a stress-free weekend.
It's great to have the Oilers look at the opportunity that was in front of them to close in Game 5 and execute.
I would like to see a Game 7 just because I want to see some more gasoline out of their tanks. Whichever team comes through, it is what it is. I wanted to go 7 because I want them to be as sleepy and tired as possible.
Real quick, last question before we go to Hot and Cold Performers. No matter what happens in Game 7 between the Leafs and the Bruins, the result is hilarious. 1, the Leafs either blow it in Game 7 after climbing back from being 3-1 down. That's kind of funny. 2, the second year in a row where the Bruins would blow a 3-1 series lead in Game 7, also hilarious. From an Oilers perspective, Oilers fan perspective, either result is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I think it's Boston was so good, so strong, and then lost some pretty important pieces, and yet somehow still put out like the world's greatest regular season last year. Mm-hmm. They're just, I don't think that their fans would be as upset if they lose. I mean, it always sucks to go down, be up 3-1 and lose, but I think you had such a long string and that you might be playing house money this last couple of years.
Tyler, what do you think? Game 7, Leafs Bruins.
I don't hate the Leafs as much as most people, but I do enjoy seeing them lose in the most hilarious of fashions. Losing to Boston in Game 7 would be hilarious. Mm-hmm. Beating Boston, then getting swept by Florida would almost be more hilarious. So I might be rooting for the Leafs to win.
Final say.
If they lose to Boston, it's like almost a Thanos. Like they lost this way, they lost this way, they lost this. It's just, wow, that'd be frustrating.
Liam, Dan, Game 7, Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Go Boston Bruins, go.
Dan?
I'd like to see a Bruins-Panthers rematch.
Our friends at DuraGuard Fence want you to get your hot and cold performers ready. Gentlemen, if you're looking for a trusted professional fence company here in Alberta that can do it on, you count on DuraGuard Fence Limited. For 37 years, they've been offering manufacturing, installing, and repair services, as well as a whole range of do-it-yourself options.
We're on a podcast, Tyler.
Pull yourself together.
I thought it was a GIF.
We've already got to edit
and it's
one of the ad reads.
Yeah, and it's tied into my cold performer. So how about that, Liam?
I have a new cold performer.
The most highly trained and experienced fence installers operating the most modern fleet of equipment here in Alberta. Duragard Fence is your one-stop fence shop for over 37 years for chain link, wood, vinyl, and ornamental fencing. Looking for more information or to request a quote, you go to duragardfence.ca. That is once again duragardfence.ca. We're going to start off with our veggies, boys, as we always do. And I'm looking at the screen, so I'm going by the screen. Nation Dan is on the left-hand side of the screen. Your cold performer of the week for our friends at Duragard Fence.
I'm just going to give it to the CHGO Blackhawks podcast for shit talking Curtis from Alberta, the Leafs fan that everybody has seen his amazing, man cave, whatever set up for the Leafs. They just went and got nasty and personal with him, and it was just unnecessary. So CHGO Blackhawks podcast, you get my cold performer of the week.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Liam Horban, you're up next on the screen. Your Duragard Fence Limited cold performer of the week.
Mine's gonna go to Tyler for not letting me get a second slice of pizza at the Oilers game on Wednesday.
Not letting.
Wow.
He literally said you shouldn't do this.
Wow.
Whoa.
What are you implying? Are you body shaming Liam?
That sounds to me.
That's what it sounds like.
He said you shouldn't do this, and I said you sound like Andrea.
Ooh.
You guys are kind of married, though. I like
They
it.
are.
You had one slice already in that intermission, and you said,
Heck yeah.
I might go get another slice. I said, really?
It's a great slice.
It is. I had one with you.
I know.
And then you didn't like my reaction and said, what? Should I not? And I said, do you need a second slice?
Exactly.
Need and want are very different things. Liam, here's Bud.
I'm upset. To be fair, I had 6 beers.
And I didn't judge once on a Wednesday.
And that's a point for Liam in this argument.
Tyler, you're up check for Duragard Fence Limited. Your cold performer of the week.
It's the fucking playoffs, man.
So,
Come on now.
do what you want.
All right. My cold performer of the week is the Toronto Blue Jays offense.
Why? What happened?
Last year, by this point, they had scored 6+ runs 10 times. This year, they've done it 4 times, and 2 of them were in the first series of the year. It's led Blue Jays fans to get desperate. Spencer, a Blue Jays fan who does very funny, sometimes over-the-top stuff on Twitter, to try solve the problem that his manager, John Schneider, he DM'd Boeing and said, I have an inside source that told me Toronto Blue Jays manager John Schneider's one of your whistleblowers.
No.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, Blue Jays.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
If you don't know what the Boeing thing is, go read about that on your own time.
Yeah.
That is very mean.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry.
Rick, for Duragard Fence Limited, your cold performer of the week.
I kind of like that joke. You know what, man? We just got through our series 4-1. I don't see a lot of bad things out there right now. So we're gonna look to the sky and go, you know what? I've had enough of this rain. I know we need it sometimes, blah, blah, blah. Bring me more snow during March and April. It's May. Clean up those skies. Everybody wants to watch patio or playoff games on the patio.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Duragard Fence Limited, my cold performer is the Boston Bruins Killer Instinct. They've had a whole lot of opportunities to close. Can't do it. You can't do it.
They are just fucking ass right now.
Flip the ledger. We're going to reverse the order. Rick, you're up first. Duragard Fence Limited hot performer of the week.
I think it's really hard to look anywhere besides Mr. 97. I think what did he do? He put up 10 assists again in a series,
11.
which is second time since Gretz or first time since Gretz.
Yeah, he matched Gretzky.
Whenever you're in a sentence with Wayne Gretzky, you're doing something right. So it's got to be the captain.
The big guy is smoking hot.
Tyler Ramchuk, Duragard Fence Limited hot performer of the week is
Golfing season's back. I have 2 tee times this weekend. Oilers 1-5. We got a weekend off. I'm doing my best LA Kings impression and hitting the links.
Woo! Friday, baby. Yeah, let's celebrate Friday. Woo!
Liam Horban, Duragard Fence Limited hot performer of the week.
Mine is gonna go to the. How do I word this? It's gonna go to the LA Kings for all complaining about how they hate playing the 1-3-1 in their exit interviews. I think that's very funny. Like Kevin Fiala literally says, it would be fun to try something else.
That's tough.
Pour it on. That is
Try the high dive, maybe, Kevin. The Olympics are coming.
You could do some flips. Nation Dan for Durgard Fest Limited, your hot porn of the week.
I'm going to be selfish, and the Oilers are off, and so I'm going to give it to myself for running my first ever half marathon this weekend.
Nice.
Last year on May the 6th, I ran my first ever 10K race, and I'm going to enter in the same race this year and do 21K this Sunday. So, giving it to myself, feeling great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Congrats, Dan. That is a lot of running. I will drive 21 kilometers in your honor.
He's a hot guy.
We'll be the only two people to run a half marathon on this podcast.
I hope you run fast.
I'm pretty sure Coombsy did too, but I can't remember.
I'm fairly certain Coombsy. Yes, Coombsy.
Liam said on this podcast.
Yeah, just on the show.
Oh, on the podcast. Well,
Liam-
Cam isn't a founding member of the podcast, so
But
half marks.
what did you run?
A half marathon.
Which one?
Los Angeles. That
What-
Disney Avengers half marathon.
What year?
2014.
Awesome. I was just curious.
Did you dress up in costume?
No, it was
Uh-oh.
boiling hot.
Did some people dress up in costume?
Yeah, quite a
Yeah,
few.
I
I'm going to be
figured
wearing
so.
an Oilers jersey.
You could just be like the Flash running through the marathon. That'd be
Well,
awesome.
it's not Marvel. Bag milk.
What did you say?
Ooh.
I was paying
Marvel Avengers Disney half marathon.
Oh, sorry.
For the cure of
Wrong
rage.
side.
What's the Flash?
DC.
Yeah, he's DC. He's the opposite
So
team.
uncultured.
Never seen him.
He's from Shelbyville, Tyler. He's from Shelbyville.
Oh my gosh, that.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, did you hear what I said?
You tell me after.
All
For
right.
Durgard Fence Limited, my hot performer of the week is the guy who keeps going into Maple Leaf Square with an Oilers flag.
Hey, good for him.
Last night, I saw a tug of war last night, but he's battling in there. He's holding up the Oilers flag after Leafs goals when he knows Maple Leaf Square will be on camera. So to you, sir, I don't know who you are, but I respect you.
Put some respect on my name.
Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap up for the weekend?
Go, let's go.
That's all you need to say. Go Oilers, go. Have a great weekend, everybody.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.